So hang tough. Let me get preparing to go live.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we're trying to just see how
Like reading the background on the screen.
Yeah.
Can Republicans? They're in. They're watching. Okay.
80 and several people.
Is James due too? James Hogan.
All rise. Superior Court for the State of Washington is now in session. Honorable Christine Scala presiding. Please be seated. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the 159th New Beginnings Celebration, also known as graduation, of our Thurston County DUI Drug Court. I am Judge Christine Schaller, and it is truly a privilege for me to be able to be here today and to preside over the graduation as we recognize 4 amazing women: Catherine Hogan, Sky Jahaski-Lebo, Brittany Landgraf, and Rachel Martinez. As always, I'm going to start with the history of our drug court. This is the 159th graduation ceremony. And again, today, because of the amazing technology that's available to us now, we have people live in the courtroom, we have people up on the screen for Zoom, and hopefully this time, the live streaming is working on YouTube. Is that right? Sabrina's shaking her head, yes. We have, to this point, had 798 graduates, 85 from our DUI court, and 713 graduates from drug court.
Yay.
Reflecting about graduation today, I've been thinking about so many things. This is the 6th graduation in a row that we've had. So I mean 6 months in a row that we have had the privilege of celebrating graduations. And today, our 4 graduates are absolutely amazing, and they are unique. It is extremely rare to have a graduation that only includes women graduating. Out of the 159 graduations that we have celebrated in this program, only 3 or 4 were only all women. And both Sabrina and Autumn indicated that since they have been part of the program, it's never happened. Each of our graduates today works full-time, of course. 2 completed CDP during their participation in the program. 3 have not only done drug court, but have been pregnant while doing drug court, with 2 of our graduates having given birth. Ms. Jahaski-Lebo, who is graduating today, just had her beautiful son, Cash, this past Saturday, and she is still here today to be part of this graduation ceremony. And Ms. Martinez is having her baby in early May. And of course, Ms. Landgraf had her beautiful daughter, Adeline, earlier in the process. In 2020 is what I mean by that. Each of our graduates today are very strong in their recovery. They have strong family support and support of important friends. I admire each of our graduates and have been in complete awe as I have watched them on their life journey in this program and the significant appreciation each of them has gained for their lives and what they have, what they've accomplished now, and what they are going to accomplish in the future. Combined, these 4 graduates have 1,598 days clean and sober. As the women who are graduating know, and for those current participants who are watching on the Zoom or are watching on the live stream, I often like to use quotes inspiring words, things of significance to talk about, well, in drug court and during graduation. So when I was getting ready for this graduation, I searched for quotes, inspirational quotes for women's strength, because each of our graduates are just incredibly strong and brave. I read over 50 quotes, and I kept coming back to 3 of them. The first one is, "There is no force more powerful than a woman determined to rise." That is by W.E.B. Du Bois, who was an American civil rights activist and one of the founders of the NAACP. "There is no limit to what we as women can accomplish," Michelle Obama. "The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. We should raise each other up. Make sure you're courageous. Be strong, be kind, and above all, be humble," Serena Williams. I think that each of these quotes speak really with what our graduates have done and what they will do in the future. You are each an example of strength and power. I know you inspire current participants and have inspired people who have already completed our program. As you go on to the next part of your lives, there is no doubt that you will continue to have a strong impact in your lives, the lives of your family, and our community. As I have said to most of the graduates in the last year, I also want you to stay in contact with our program. Let us know that you are doing well. Of course, we want pictures of the babies too, but also, how is work going? How is life going? We just want you to know that we will continue to support you even after you graduate. Next, I now want to introduce our drug court team, which is incredible. I would like to start. It's really a privilege for me to be here today because as of February 1st, I'm no longer the drug court judge, and Judge John Skinder has taken over the program. He is graciously allowed me to be able to preside today at graduation, which I really appreciate, and he is present on Zoom. We have our amazing program manager, Sabrina Craig. Our program coordinator, Kim Robbins. We have attorneys that are assigned to the drug court. In the courtroom, we have Mr. Abid. And I believe on Zoom and or a live stream, we have Jessica Shen and Rosemary Hewitson.
The windows.
You should wave so people can see you. Okay, there you go. And for defense attorneys, in the courtroom, we have Luke Swinney. And on Zoom and or the live stream, I believe we also have Jenna Norden and maybe also Brian Gearhart. We have our fantastic treatment team, which is led by the clinical supervisor, Autumn Irvine. And our treatment counselors, one in the courtroom, Terry Buckner. And one present by Zoom, Lori Mize. We have the program assistant, Danny Duell. And the office assistants, Darcy LaChapelle and Jason Foreman. And I also want to give a shout out to all the current participants who are on Zoom or who are watching on the live stream. I hope you are all doing well, and I miss you. Today it is super exciting. When we used to have full live graduations and the courtroom was packed with people, we had a lot of people who had already graduated the program come to graduations to support the program and oftentimes to receive coins for their continued sobriety since graduation. And today we get to celebrate 2 of those people. I believe, I hope that they are present on the Zoom today. I see one of them. So I'm going to start with presentation of a 9-year coin to Patrick Hanratty, graduated October 1, 2013. Yes, wave so we can see you. And then we also have a 7-year coin today for Clayton Musgrove, who graduated February 12, 2016. At this point, it is time for me to invite our first counselor forward to introduce our first graduate, who's getting psyched up out there, I can tell. So I'm going to have Autumn come forward to introduce our first graduate.
So my mom always told me to be careful what I wish for on my birthday. And in 2019, I received a special gift by the name of Catherine Hogan. Now, however, I did not meet her until I was telling her that she was going to jail for continued use. That was the last time that she spent a holiday in jail. That is the last time that she would not be away from her family on a holiday. That was the last time that she chose to use. So in this program, we have people that come and they've gone through treatment and they've been through several treatments. Ms. Hogan came to us, this was her first attempt in treatment, and we've talked about that this can be your last. And she has been determined to make it her last. While she was here, she has worked extensively on her internal motivation for life, on discovering who she is as a brilliant young woman.
Just seeing if we can see her.
Found a job quickly because she did not want to have to say, would you like fries with that, which is a good job. But for her, it was a motivator to find an amazing job and push herself with a company, Tan Republic. Shout out, great, thank you so much for hiring our people. But most importantly, she discovered she's worthy. She's worthy of her family. She's worthy of her friends. She actually knows what the definition of friends is. She's worthy of just being alive. She has conquered many fears, and she has many more opportunities ahead of her. I'm so very proud to introduce Catherine Hogan.
Thank you, ma'am.
When I was 16 years old, I remember telling my brother that I would never smoke weed or do drugs. I used to get really mad at him and his friends for smoking weed, and remember telling him that he could ask me when I graduated high school if I've ever smoked weed, and I'd be able to tell him no. That quickly changed when I started hanging out with the wrong people, and what started out being recreational weed, coke, and ecstasy use turned into taking pain pills here and there. I ended up liking the feeling more and more and was able to get my doctor to prescribe me Vicodin, Percocet, and Xanax for headaches, anxiety, and minor aches and pains. I just had to email her and I would run to the pharmacy on my lunch break. Throughout the years, this led into full-blown heroin addiction and then later heroin and meth addiction. I couldn't keep a job. I moved place to place, and I stole and lied to the people that meant the most to me. I tried to get clean and sober a few times by detoxing at my mom's house, but that never lasted more than 2 weeks. In 2016, my battle with the legal system started, and I was charged with 6 counts of forgery and sentenced to 30 days house arrest and 6 months of DOC. I got arrested again in 2018 with drug-related charges and spent my first weekend in the Thurston County Jail. I was PR'd on Monday after court and was told to get my house arrest done for the previous charges before I came back, or I was going back to jail. Long story short, I moved to Bremerton for 2 years, running from the law with felony warrants. On August 14, 2019, I finally got caught and booked into the Kitsap County Jail for 3 days before being transported to the Thurston County Jail for a month to complete my house arrest that I never did. I also had to spend extra time in jail because I never checked into DOC. This was a pattern for me. I would never finish anything and I would run away from my problems, and it was finally all catching up to me. I got out of jail in September with an offer to go to prison or do the Thurston County Drug Court program. It took me a good 2 months to decide what I wanted to do. During those 2 months, I started using again and ended up in jail another time, which made me have to basically beg for a spot in drug court. Finally, on November 19th, I signed for drug court. I figured I would just do things my way, manipulate the program because I wasn't sure I wanted to quit using and I was scared. How hard could this actually be? Mind manipulating and getting my way was a way of life at this time. I quickly found out that you could not get away with anything in drug court and things were not going to go my way. I spent Thanksgiving weekend in jail that year, sicker than a dog, and finally realized I needed to pull myself together. This was the first time in treatment. This was my first time in treatment, and I needed to take advantage of this opportunity and all the help or my life wasn't going to change. Throughout my time in drug court, I have gained the skills to lead a successful, sober life. I have worked so much on myself this last year, focusing on self-esteem, assertiveness, my thoughts and feelings, and actions. I have also gained some amazing friendships that I never thought were possible. In addiction, you get used to being around people who are only there if you benefit them in some sort of way. To make true friends going through the same thing as you is something on a whole other level of friendship, and I couldn't be more grateful. I want to thank Sabrina Craig for rooting for me from day one. You saw me for the first time in the drug court lobby with my mom, and I was a hot mess. You have continued to remind me how far I've come and how proud of me you are. Autumn, thank you for pushing me so hard to find a job and reminding me that I'm worth it. After my one-on-ones with you, I always felt better and was ready to conquer a new week. You have helped me so much, and I will be forever grateful. Thank you to my amazing sponsor, Megan Buchanan. You are somebody I can tell anything to, and you've helped me in so many different ways. To everyone else on the drug court team, Darcy, Jason, Lori, Terry, Kayla, and the legal team, thank you for never giving up on me. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for you. Judge Schaller, thank you for holding us all to a higher standard and for not letting us get away with less than the best. You're going to be missed. And most of all, I want to thank my family for never giving up on me and being there for me through thick and thin. It almost seemed like my mom was in drug court with me. I can't thank you enough, Mom, for your dedication to me and my sobriety. I love you. Thank you to my Uncle Dave and Aunt Terry. I appreciate all of the support when I didn't deserve it. To my brothers, William and David, I'm so happy to have you and your families back in my life. You mean the world to me. After drug court, I'm going to continue to grow with my career at Tanner Public, continue to come back to one-on-ones with Autumn. I hope to be doing some traveling sometime in the near future, and I'm going to stay connected to my support system and continue to make my mom and uncle proud.
Now, Ms. Craig is going to come forward for a small presentation.
Amazing.
We like to send everybody off with a little parting gift, right? So we have a little bag here with a couple marbles, a couple pennies, the rock that you rocked out with in your group, and a little poem that says, and I always have to read it because I never remember. When it seems like the world makes no sense and you feel like you're losing your marbles, then grab your stone from within, say a prayer, and start your day all over again. And I hope that you will when you need to. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Catherine Hogan, 451 days, and it's over. Next, we need to give our attention to the screen, and Lori Mize is going to introduce our next graduate.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this graduate came to us from the CDP program. She always has an infectious smile and an infectious laugh. She learned to be independent in that she can do anything she put her mind to. Today, she knows her high-risk situations, has a plan to deal with them, has a support network, and most of all, she knows how to ask for help when she needs it. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Sky Jahaski-Lebo.
Wow. That's a name I recognize.
Okay. Before starting drug court, I assumed my life was like most addicts, dysfunctional, no direction, feeling lost, unworthy, and defeated with no way out. Every day the same, but I expected it for the way accepted it for the way it was, not really caring about what happened to me, whether I lived or died, thinking no one cared about me and out of jail. The last time I got arrested, I knew I was going to be going away for a long time, and I accepted that as well. After sitting in Thurston County for about a month, my lawyer mentioned drug court, and I thought that was my ticket out. I could go use again and deal with the consequences later. After a couple of weeks, I met with Sabrina, and she told me I was a great candidate for drug court with CDP, but there goes my get out of jail free card. I considered going to prison, but after I thought about it long and hard, I finally decided to take CDP drug court. After a couple of hiccups on my end, I started CDP the day after Christmas. I thought it was going to be like every other treatment, easy to manipulate my way through the program, but I was wrong. It was going to be a lot of effort. In the long run, CDP was just what I needed, and I don't know if I could have been successful in drug court without it. I thought before, my actions really only affected myself, but working the MRT steps, I saw my actions not only deeply affected me, but also my family, friends, and community, that I was the reason for everything that was going wrong in my life. From here, I was able to start mending relationships, finding out who I was really deep down inside, and meet goals for my future. Once I was in work release, I was ready to do the right thing and stay on the right path. About 2 weeks into work release, COVID-19 hit and the building shut down. With much hesitation from the prosecutor, I was released on home monitoring to an Oxford house where I was able to get a job and become more independent. In phase 1 of drug court, I learned about my relapse triggers and how to identify them, as well as ways to overcome them. In CSC, I identified my risk thinking and patterns and how my negative thinking was connected to my drug use. In phase 2, I was able to establish a better routine with meetings, my sponsor work, and drug court. In CSC, I came up with new thinking to overcome my risk thinking. I also started EMDR, which helped me with my past traumas and is giving me a new perspective on a lot of things. Phase 3 has given me even more independence and helped me identify my high-risk situations, helped me make a more detailed recovery plan, and taught me a lot about myself through the projects required. For me, I believe the most beneficial part of the program was CDP. CDP helped me lay a foundation for a more honest, committed recovery. It helped give me structure, taught me to take accountability for my actions, and gave me a stable footing for reentry into society. Without CDP, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. Since entering drug court, I've become more confident, dependable, and accountable. I have a solid support system, not only through the drug court team and participants, but also my Oxford house and through the AA community. I have completed a 12-step MRT parenting class to prepare for my son, bought my own car, worked full-time, and established a company in the community with advancement opportunities, and I am able to help others when they need it. I also have been able to establish a relationship with my family, which I thought was unrepairable. After drug court, my plan is to continue recovery by attending meetings, contacting with my sponsor, working the steps, helping others, and eventually sponsoring others. I'm going to continue to build trust with my family and provide for my son. I eventually want to go back to school. Drug court has given me tools to be successful, and I have worked hard to get to where I'm at now. So I'm going to keep moving forward no matter how hard it gets. I want to thank Sabrina for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to turn my life around. Deputy Schuenberg for arresting me, Louis Fitzpatrick and Holden and the CDP team for holding me accountable, Amanda Chick with Northwest Resources for helping me with reentry, Luke Sweeney for helping me get on EHM, the prosecutor for eventually giving me a chance, Brian Gearhart for believing in me and fighting for me when I had issues in the beginning. Lori, thank you for giving me honest feedback and listening to me when I just needed to vent. Autumn, thank you for giving me a new perspective on situations and helping me see things in a different light. Thank you, Jason and Darcy, for always being so helpful at the building and answering all my questions, making sure I have what I needed. Kim and Danny, I never really saw you much, but thank you for making things work so smoothly in the background. Thank you, Judge Schaller, for being so easy to talk to and genuinely caring about what's going on in my life. You made it easy, coming to court and something I actually look forward to. And last but not least, I want to thank my mom, my dad, my sister, and my family for showing me tough love and never giving up on me. I'm so grateful for all of you and blessed to have you back in my life.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
Ms. Craig?
Katie's fine. She's doing first.
Come back. Oh.
Guy Jahaski Liebel, 438 days clean and sober. I'd ask again that we give our attention to the screen as Ms. Mize introduce our next graduate.
Thank you, Your Honor. This next graduate started the program knowing above all else she wanted to change her life. She knew she had the opportunity with the drug court program, and so she began. She soon found out she was expecting, and this made her program all the much more important to her. There is nothing she won't do for her daughter today, including building a life for her daughter that she can be proud of. She has a job she loves, a support network that she utilizes regularly, and a loving partner she is raising her daughter with. It is my honor to introduce to you Miss Brittany Landgraf.
Okay. Hello, my name is Brittany Landgraf. I grew up in Little Rock, Washington, and a little over 8 years ago, I made a choice to try drugs. In the beginning, I thought that it was just all innocent fun. I remember thinking, what's the worst that could happen, right? Well, little did I know that it was going to be the biggest mistake that I had made yet. Over the next 7 years, I lost everything that I owned multiple times due to being so reckless. I lost my job, my place to live, relationships with my family and friends, my health, my freedom, and myself. By this time, I was so accustomed to living in this drug addict lifestyle that I had completely forgotten what being sober and life before using drugs was like. That thought of getting clean made me nervous and unsure of where to begin. I had given up on everything in my life when I started getting high, and that made me so overwhelmed thinking about what I would have to do when I did decide to get clean that it made me not even want to start. It felt nearly impossible. Then on June 11th, 2019, I was arrested for a felony possession of meth, a felony possession of heroin, and also a DOC warrant. I spent about a month in Thurston County Jail and got out to find that my mom was not doing well. The past month that I had been in jail, her health deteriorated very quickly. When I got out of jail, instead of sorry, I lost my spot. When I got out of jail, instead of getting out and trying to find my next high to drown out all my feelings, I decided that it was a good time to start this Suboxone program. I lost my mom on July 17th, 2019, and I have been clean off heroin since then.
but there was still a big problem, smoking meth. While I was going back and forth to my court dates for Thurston County, I was offered to join the Thurston County Drug Court Program. I accepted and signed my contract on December 11, 2019, my birthday. About 2 weeks before my birthday, I had found out that I was pregnant, but I knew that it was meant to be. New year, big changes, and exciting days ahead. Don't get me wrong, I was very nervous, but ready to start this new chapter in my life. During phase 1, I learned how to recognize my behaviors, be open and honest about my past and the feelings I was going through. In phase 2, I started seeing changes in my life. I felt engaged in CSC class, processing my thoughts and feelings in a healthy way. I had started a new job for the first time since I started using in 2011. I was able to take care of all my warrants, started paying off my fines, and it felt so good to do these things. It was a huge weight that was lifted off my shoulders, just knowing that I had begun to tackle a few things on my to-do list. Shortly after I got into phase 2, everything got shut down because of COVID. Work was at a halt, drug court classes were not being held, and UAs were stopped. This was my first real test, and I feel that with the support and tools that I had been given by drug court, I was able to stay sober through this crazy time. Near the end of phase 2, I had my beautiful daughter on July 13th, 2020. She is my saving grace. I have never known a more unconditional love. I phased into phase 3 on September 29th, 2020. During phase 3, they gave me an idea of what life outside drug court would be like. Doing the relapse prevention workbook made me process possible situations that could arise in the future and know how to handle them accordingly. Looking back during my time in the program, I can't believe that I have accomplished getting sober and having the integrity to stay that way, holding down a reliable job, becoming a mom, taking care of my family, and never losing sight of my goals or giving up. After drug court, I plan on going back to school to further my education, travel somewhere warm, and make the best memories with my family. Now for a few thank yous. My counselor, Lori, thank you for always listening to me and being so genuine and kind. Autumn, thank you for always having the best advice. I loved having you as our instructor for CSC classes. Terry, thank you for always having a smile on your face and making class fun. Tony, thank you for being a good mentor during Eric and I's family sessions. Darcy and Jason, thank you for always being good company in the mornings that I had a UA and for any questions that I had. Sabrina, thank you for giving me the chance to join this program. It really has changed my life in ways I never thought imaginable. Judge Scheller, thank you for always believing in not only me, but every single participant that comes into this program. You have encouraged me to keep making the right decisions. Eric, it has been so incredible to take this journey with you. I am so grateful for you and wouldn't want anyone else by my side. My daughter, Adeline, you are my world, and I promise you that I will always do what I can to be the best mom that I can. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Price?
Thank you.
Thank
you. Brittany Landgraf, 440 days clean and sober. I thought you guys were wearing matching sweaters, but you were across the courtroom. We are. Very cool. Very cool. I didn't notice that. All right, let's look at that screen one more time for Ms. Mize to introduce the next graduate.
Thank you, Your Honor. This graduate came to us from the CDP program. She entered the program and soon became complacent. She learned some hard lessons because of that complacency, but became stronger because of it. She has a job today that she loves. She has her family back in her life today, and she knows she will never have to be without them again. Today, she is a strong woman who possesses an inner peace that was not there before. It is my honor to introduce to you to Rachel Martinez.
Okay. It wasn't very long ago that I was in a completely different place, mentally, spiritually, and physically than where I'm at today. And I have my journey over the last 18 months to thank for that. A couple of years ago, I was completely ready to give up my life in the name of heroin. Nothing else mattered. It controlled every action, thought, and consequence that came my way, and ultimately whether I lived or died. So it was no surprise in the summer of 2019, I found myself in jail once again with one thing on my mind: what was the quickest way to get out? When the drug court program presented itself to me, all I saw was a way out. In reality, it was the first step in motion. There I was, out of jail, ready to sign my life away to the Thurston County Drug Court program, with absolutely no clue as to what I was doing, and with an entitled and careless attitude the drug court team saw right through. I was sent back to jail with a 4-day sanction. Little did I know I'd be there for the next 6 months. I was sentenced to the chemical dependency program. I soon realized I wouldn't be manipulating my way out of this. I gave in, determined to get through the program, and it wasn't easy. Although CDP is where I learned the most important step, which is honesty, coming to the much needed but very uncomfortable state of honesty within yourself, something most of us addicts had lost along the way. Once I became honest with myself, I was able to work through my past with the help of the MRT workbook. I focused and took this much needed time to learn about myself. My past and my addiction. The 6 months passed, and I was ready to be released to finish the rest of the drug court program. And how hard could it be? I was working, I had a place to live, and I had just completed the toughest part of the program in jail, didn't I? Not too long after my release, life took me by surprise. COVID hit, my accountability was gone, and I was faced with real life, and I failed. I relapsed. Sorry. My entire world came crashing down before me. I know I had one decision to make, and I had to get honest. I reached out to help and got sober, and I awaited my fate. Although I can say it was one of the most uncertain and scary times I've ever been through, it certainly was the most beneficial. The drug court team deliberated and gave me the blessing I may have not deserved, but what absolutely provided the path to where I'm at today. And for that, my gratitude cannot be measured. Through that period of time, I refocused and allowed myself a true chance at recovery. I finally believed I was worth it. Through CSC, I was able to put forth cognitive self-change with my old negative and dangerous behavior patterns, switching them with new healthy and motivating ones. I learned the importance of reaching out to others, sharing my thoughts and feelings with my counselor, sponsor, and family, no matter how uncomfortable it may feel. I took time to give back in a selfless manner. I've written future goals down that I've been able to see come to reality. With the help of my wonderful counselors, Lori and Autumn, I've learned how to become more assertive in the importance of being able to say no. Towards the end of the program, I learned all about relapse prevention, my personal triggers, and what that could look like in real life future situations. I would like to take this time to honor my higher power, Jesus Christ, for setting forth my life in recovery.
want to say thank you to my amazing mother, who has a rock solid, unconditional love that persevered and never gave up on me. I appreciate you more than I could ever express. To my incredible counselor, Lori, who I've always been able to count on, learn from, and trust in. To Autumn for always keeping me on my toes and letting me cry in her office and letting me know I was worth it. Thank you. To Judge Schaller, who shared her wisdom and grace and saw Barbie on the attic and stood in front of her. Thank you for believing in me, especially during the time I had to believe in myself. Brina, who recognized my potential in the program through all my ups and downs. To Darcy for all of our bathroom talks and so much more. You've always been there for advice, to lend a hand, and someone I could count on. To Jason, thank you for being so positive and friendly all the time. And lastly, my lawyer, Luke Sweeney, and the rest of the legal team. Thank you for putting forth the fight and believing we deserve a chance. This journey has been nothing short of saving my life. To everyone that's been a part of it, I'm sincerely grateful. Woo!
Craig? Rachel Martinez, 269 days playing cover. We are now going to have the presentation of the Hope coins to each of the graduates, and Mr. Abid is going to be presenting those on behalf of the prosecuting attorney's office.
Thank you, Your Honor. So today I will be presenting you Hope points on behalf of my office, the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. I'll tell you one fact that we at the prosecutor's office believe truly in the Hope theory. I won't take too much time today. I have spoken about it in the past, but there are a few things that are worth mentioning about what Hope is and why we give it so much importance and connect it with the drug court program. So as Ms. As I was preparing or thinking about what to talk about in terms of Hope, I also searched, as Judge Scheller did, for some quotes and other people's ideas. Emily Dickinson, the 19th century poet, in 1800s, one of her poems was about hope. And part of that says, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. When I see that word feathers, it reminds me of a small bird. How a small bird with the hope that's a powerful technique overcomes any storms and then moves through that and then achieves its goals. So in terms of hope, which is defined as a perceived capability to desire pathways to desired goals and motivate oneself via agency thinking to use those pathways. In this program or any other aspect of your life, you will continue to find pathways, set goals, and then use those pathways to reach those goals. So today, I will be giving you Hope coins, which has 4 letters written on it: hope, goals, pathways, and willpower. It's all your willpower that you will use to overcome anything in your life as you have done in the drug court program. So with that, I will present to you Hope coins from my office. Catherine.
Thank you.
Sky. So this will be a reminder to you whenever you are in any struggle in your life, you know how you have overcome all those issues in your life in the drug court program. Remind yourself with that coin and then continue to stay strong and continue to achieve your goals.
Now, this year during graduations, we changed things up and we have both the prosecutor and defense lawyers have an opportunity to address the graduates, and we are going to do that today. The difference will be that I'm going to have both the prosecutor and defense address. So we'll have Ms. Hogan, and she'll be addressed by both, and then we're going to move on to Ms. Jahaski-Lebo and go down the line like that instead of doing them separately. I think it's nicer if we could group the comments together. So I would invite Mr. Abid forward to address Ms. Hogan.
So, Ms. Hogan, you said that you had to be reminded of the fact that you're worth it when you were looking for a job. I want to tell you that knowing you, I always knew you were worth it. But one thing that that I learned about you during the program is how your employers were so enthusiastic about you in terms of your job skills. You just had to be reminded, but that was something that stood out to me. I think you have a great potential. You just didn't know that, but now you do. And overall, your recovery, I think, was really strong. You were committed. So I appreciate that, and I congratulate you on your success today.
Thank you.
Catherine, I just want to say, in your penultimate review, the last court review you had, you talked about the advice you would give to someone coming into the drug court as a new participant. And one of the things you said was about getting honest. And I think on one hand, that's you talking about, getting honest with yourself about what your struggles are, being open to others. But I think also for you, something that I think I've seen is you being honest with yourself about your abilities and your capabilities. And you've always had those. And maybe you just didn't believe in yourself and you didn't think you were capable of achieving the stuff you've accomplished in this program, both in the program and then your life outside of the courthouse. So, I just think that's inspirational that you always had that. And maybe getting honest is not just getting honest with your faults and your weaknesses, but getting honest about your strengths and actually believing in yourself. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you. And Ms. Hogan, when you entered the program, you were represented by Ms. Sego, and I emailed her to let her know that you were graduating today, and she indicated that unfortunately she's in trial in another county, so she could not be here, but she asked me if I would tell you the following, that she hopes that you are so proud of yourself and all that you have accomplished, and that she is very proud of you as well. Thank you. So now Ms. Hewitson is going to address Ms. Jahaski-Lebo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hi, Sky. I always say I feel like the Teletubby in the sky, so I'm going to hover. I just want to tell you that don't tell my husband, but I've never been excited to be this wrong in my life. You are absolutely right. I think it was a year ago, I was sitting in my home office in quarantine, fielding so many emails from Luke Sweeney about how we had to give Sky a chance and what was wrong with us, and that you were just going to be a rock star and you were going to set the example for everybody else. And so I don't like to tell Luke that he's wrong. He it just gets to his head. But I am so excited to see you graduate today with 4 cases, ma'am. You have really worked your tail off in this program. You have shown, I think, really everyone in the community, between your Oxford House, your employers, just how far you are going to go in life. And I am so immensely proud of, not only did you do drug court, having a criminal hit, coming in with 4 cases, but you did it pregnant. That is outstanding. And you were always a joy to have in court. And so I am just excited to see what you do in the future. You literally, your future is limitless, ma'am. I can't wait to see all the great things you do in our community. I'm so proud that you are graduating today, and I look forward to hearing lots of baby stories, and we need baby pictures of little baby Cash. So congratulations.
Ms. Jahaski-Lebo, I also, you were represented by Derek Smith, and I reached out to him to tell him that you were graduating today, and he is present here up on our Zoom screen and would like to address you.
I would also like to address Catherine. Catherine may not remember, but I was her attorney on her first case. And I'm going to talk to both of you. I remember both of you very well, and I remember actually seeing you guys in court when you guys weren't there for, when you guys were there for drug court and I was off doing other things. And I was always very proud that you guys were doing a great job. I remember talking to Kelly about you, Catherine, and advocating for drug court and really hoping that you would go do that. And so I'm really glad that it turned out that way. I would also remind you that the fact that you have those cases from 2016, they can be taken off your record. You can be made clear from those. And I don't want you to forget that that is an opportunity that you have, even though you currently have those convictions. That's something that you can get fixed, and you're not scarred by them. But I want to kind of focus on Sky. Sky was she was my every 2 months or so, she would come back with a new case. I'd have her on the first one, say hi. 2 months later, she would be gone. She'd have a warrant. 2 months later, she'd be back, and we'd say hi again. I remember the conversations we had in the jail where she was, she wanted out, and she wanted to do anything to get out. And I would tell her that they're not going to let you out. We're going to have to do CDP to get through this. And I remember her reluctance to go forward. But I also know that she made a really, really brave decision, and that it is not easy. And I know how hard it is. I will tell you that being a defense attorney sometimes really sucks, and that it is times like this that it's really hard to explain how much these moments of being involved in somebody's change and being better can really make a difficult job go a long way. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this, and I wish you both the absolute best.
Next, I will invite Mr. Abid forward to address Ms. Landgraf.
Thank you, Anna. So, Brittany, I'll call you by your first name. All 4 of you are very strong women. There's much that can be said about you and your strength in the program. But Brittany, you were like the center of that foundation of the strength between all 4 of you. it seems like I don't know much about what events happen during a pregnancy, but you had what they call baby shower and lot of people supporting you and wanting to be in that. So you were like a center of attraction for everybody. You had a good recovery. You were strong in your recovery, and you were committed. So that showed, and it was appreciated. And congratulations.
Thank you.
And just before I have Ms. Norden is going to address you. But since I've been talking about the fact that I've reached out to lawyers, I actually do that every time for lawyers who are involved earlier on in the case before the drug court lawyers. Mr. Coolian, who represented you, he actually he passed away not long after you entered drug court. But what I wanted to say, not on his behalf, but he did not bring a lot of people to drug court. He represented a lot of people. He's a very good lawyer, but he did not bring a lot of people to drug court. And to me, that tells me what he saw in you and what your future could be if you entered the program. And he was a very smart and skilled lawyer. And I think that if he was here today, that he would be just talking about how proud he is of you, and that you do have everything that he thought you had, which is why he brought you to drug court. So. Ms. Norden is up on the screen. Super excited that she is here today. Ms. Norden.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Brittany. I can't see you, but hopefully you can hear me okay. And I apologize in advance. I'm at home and I do have a 4-year-old, and so we'll kind of see how it goes. But I wanted to just let you know, congratulations, and that I'm just so very proud of you. I haven't been your attorney for the last couple of months, but I was your defense attorney early on in your time in drug court. I even remember you before you entered drug court. I can very clearly recall you and Eric before you entered drug court coming to court together to observe. And how you present today versus how you presented then is just starkly different. I also remember early on, I think this was maybe your first court review, you kind of not having a whole lot to say to Judge Schaller, and kind of the court letting you know that you would need to, have more to talk about. And I remember kind of thinking, oh no, is this going to be an issue? And it just never was an issue. It was just great to watch you interact with the court. And really quickly, you became just a rock star. I remember early on you staying after court on a day that we had high school students, I think, or maybe they were college students, I think high schoolers, that came to observe. Are you guys able to hear me? I'm hearing some feedback.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember you staying after court when we had, I think they were high school students that had come to observe, and you just doing a fantastic job fielding their questions and really just doing a fantastic job, being the face of the drug court program for the community. I also am just very much in awe of what you've completed while you've been in the drug court program. Completing drug court in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. Becoming a parent is a huge accomplishment and is an exhausting life event. And you did both of these things at the same time, and you did both of those things exceptionally. Every time I've heard you speak about your daughter, it's just extraordinarily clear your devotion as a parent and your commitment and your love for your child. And I think she's really lucky to have you as a parent. And I just really wish you the best going forward. I think that you're going to do great things or continue to do great things. And I wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Abid, I would invite you forward to address Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Rachel, you said well when you indicated your mother has been part of your recovery. I remember your case when I filed it. Luke Sweeney and I had talked about it a number of times. We used to come to a point where we were about to get you into the program, but you would skip out. And then it'd be some time before. But I remember seeing messages come to my office from your mother, how she wanted you to be in the program or in some kind of a treatment. She realized that she was there for you. So that was one of the reasons I, along with Luke Sweeney and myself, we worked on this case to try to get you into this program, and we, I believe, made a right decision. Before you had gone into CDP, well, after completing CDP, I think you turned things around. You started to trusting yourself and being honest with yourself. So you started taking the responsibility, and that showed. So that was good work. Congratulations.
Rachel, I want every client that I put into this program to get where you're sitting at, but not everybody gets to the place that you have. And we talk, I think, a lot about it in this program, growth and development that everyone goes through, the tools you gain, the skills you utilize, and how you transform in the program. I think that's all true, but I also think that sometimes what this program allows people to do is to find something inside themselves that's always been there. And for me, we've talked about the word strength a lot today. We've heard that word. But I also think for you, I think about the word resiliency. And I'm not going to give you a Webster's definition of that, but I think how you react and how you transformed yourself when you went through struggles and the tough times, that's just, I think it's beautiful, and I think it's inspiring. And so I think that's what you've been able to do, and not, when you did have a setback, when you did have a stumble, not allow that to dictate who you are and how you would respond to it, but to allow that to transform you in the positive way, I think is just amazing. So I'm so glad that we can be here at this point together, and I can share in this moment with you. It's really special. Thank you.
All right, so now it's time for my comments for each of you. And before I have comments about each of your participation in the program, I just have kind of been struck during graduation. I'm looking at who's here in the courtroom, who is present by Zoom that I can see. And I know that there are people who are also watching by way of the live stream. And people who we see have long-term success in their sobriety after this program. Of course, we don't see everyone, but are people who keep a connection with this program. Ms. Buchanan is here today, and she's a sponsor to one of our graduates. Ms. Green graduated last month. I saw Andre Charles here just a moment ago. I don't know if he's still in there. He graduated this year. Mr. Hanratty, who got his 9-year coin today, and others. And I just think that's a great example, and I really, truly hope that each of you will maintain a strong connection, first and foremost, to your recovery, but that you potentially connect that to this program, because also each of you are so brave and you are so strong, and you have so much to give back. You've received a lot, but each of you have so much that you can give to others, and I just hope that that'll be part of the work that you do as you go forward. So I'm going to start with Ms. Hogan, and as I do, I always just talk a little bit about kind of the procedure in your case. You entered the program on November 19, 2011, 19. And you talked about this, but you had a little bit of a rough start in the program. You had sanctions in November and December. And even though you ultimately had, I think, 2 other sanctions after that time in December, really, you had changed the way that you approached the program. You have really grown and you have completely blossomed during this program. I think that the struggles you had in the beginning were you trying to decide, and you talked about this in your speech, how you were going to approach this, because originally you thought, how hard can this be? And then you realized that it was going to be hard. But then you really started to move forward. Then COVID hit shortly after that, really, and you were getting ready to look for a job. And I think that that was one of the big struggles that you had in the program, also because you knew, I think in general, what kind of job you wanted to get. And I do think that sometimes we push people when they don't get a job. We're like, okay, well, you just have to get any job. You just have to work. And you were a little resistant to that. And in the end, you were right, because you found the perfect job for you, the one that was a perfect fit. And I think that has helped you see yourself in a whole new life, the light, the way we've always seen you. For the entire program, you have been blessed to have strong support from your mom, and as you've gone along through your brothers and your uncle. And there's no doubt that that made a difference for you. In addition to restoring those family relationships, you have been able to develop really strong relationships with other women in the program and in the community, and that is going to serve you well after graduation. When I had my last court review with you in January, I was really struck by a couple of the things that you said. And I think that for all of those current participants out there, I hope that you are listening to these wise words. You may have been in court when Ms. Hogan spoke them. But you just said very simple, don't talk to anyone that uses. As one of the things that you had done that helped you to be successful. And of course, that's one of the person, places, things, but that's not always easy to do. And you actually referenced that in your graduation application as also as things that you had changed while you were in the program. You said, I don't talk to anyone that uses anymore. You also told your fellow participants in January that to be successful, they just needed to be open and honest. And if you could be open and honest, that you would be successful. And certainly that is the way that you approached the program. When you were asked why you were ready to advance to phase 3, you said, I continue to trust the process and am finding that everything truly does happen for a reason. I continue to see a bright future for myself. And that was in early September of 2020. And your future has certainly been bright since that time, and no doubt is going to continue that way in the future. In your graduation application, you stated that you are ready to graduate because I have the tools to live a successful, sober life. I am confident in everything I have learned that I will continue to grow and be a functioning, contributing member of society. We see you as that, and I think we see you as even more than that. Don't ever underestimate yourself or what you can achieve, because you truly can do anything. Congratulations. Thank you. So, Ms. Jahaski-Lebo, this is interesting. You also entered the program on November 19, 2019, but you were ordered to start in the CDP program. And I will tell you that I don't remember exactly what you said when you entered the program, but I know it was what many people say, I'm ready to change and I'm going to work hard and things like that. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So you went to CDP and you weren't able to start for a little over a month. You even said it was December 26th was your first day to start phase 1 of CDP. And then you completed CDP in May of 2020. And you actually completed the program with no sanctions, although I'm going to talk about that because there were sanctions. But it's very, very rare that someone completes the program with no sanctions, and that was one of the many things that you accomplished while you were in the program. So when you go through CDP, for those of you that went through CDP, we staff those every other week. And because we staff them every other week, and because we don't see the participants in phase 1 at all, like in person, I kept a notebook of all my CDP participants. I had all the progress reports in there. I had your pictures so that when you started coming to court, that I would know who you are and things like that. So I still have all of your progress notes from CDP. And when I get to the time of graduation, I only think of you really as you're sitting here today. I don't think about your struggles, and I look back and I was like, oh, that's right. So, Ms. Jahaski-Levo, in your first progress report from CDP that I had, it was early January of 2020, we were told that your progress was slow, that you were not interacting with other people in your group, and that you had told your treatment provider that you were only there so you did not have to go to prison. And when I read that, when I reviewed that, I mean, I know I sound like I'm testifying at trial for those lawyers that are here, but it refreshed my recollection, truly. And I remember talking about it in staffing because I was like, well, that's not what she said when she entered the program. And I'm only talking about that one because I did really laugh when I read that. But also, that was very short-lived. By the next progress report, which was 2 weeks later, we had heard that you'd already started to change, that you were interacting with others, and that your treatment provider thought that you might be contemplating actual change. And by the time you actually finished phase 1 of CDP and got to phase 2 of CDP, your treatment providers were telling us in our staffings that you were determined to change your life and make a fresh start. And that's what I saw when you, of course, that you went to phase 2 during COVID, so we didn't have court reviews right away. But when you started coming to court, that's certainly what we saw. And while you were in CDP, not only did you have that internal shift within yourself, you accomplished a lot. You did get out on EHM, you got a job. While you were in CDP, you were voted president of your house. That doesn't happen very often. Once you concluded CDP and came out into drug court, you had a really solid start with the program and had up to that point established a good amount of sobriety. You were working immediately. You started trying to reconnect with your family, and that wasn't always easy for you. And although this isn't in time, this is a little bit later, but I remember the first time that your mom came to court with you and how proud you were. You just kind of lighted up with happiness that she had come to court with you. And that was after, I believe that was after you got to go to her surprise birthday party. And it just was a really neat thing to watch as you've continued to be able to restore that relationship. But you are very brave and accepting. And those are qualities that will serve you well the rest of your life. In June, this goes back to the compliance, non-compliance. In June, you had just weren't that long out of CDP, and you had two UAs back to back that were positive for ethanol. And you said you didn't use, but you stipulated, my UA says that, and you took the consequence. And then 3 weeks later, you had another UA with the same result. And you said that you didn't use, but you, again, were willing to take responsibility. And then we received medical documentation that, in fact, your UAs, that what showed in your UA was a medical issue, not a consumption issue. And we vacated those sanction orders. But you didn't make, what I'm trying to get at those, you didn't make excuses. You weren't doing anything other than, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try and figure it out, but I am being honest. I did not use, but I'm going to just take the consequences because I understand that that's part of this program. And I just thought that when I look at everything in context, really just shows the strength of character that you have and your ability to accept life on its own terms, which doesn't always go the way that we want it to. And it was really incredibly impressive. When you were looking to advance to phase 3, in that application, you said that you were ready to get to the last phase of the program. I'm doing all the right things, no matter how easy or difficult, and it feels good. And to me, those words match kind of what happened to you earlier in the program with the sanction, no sanction, as I'm calling it now. That you will accept life, good or bad, on its own terms, and that is going to serve you so well in the future. In phase 3, you have really been pushing yourself. You got a better job. You moved into your own place, so you'd have a good place to bring your son home. You completed parenting education, and you opened a bank account. You are truly extraordinary. And I think that there's no better evidence that you're extraordinary than you gave birth less than a week ago. And this was so important to you that you are here today so that we can recognize your accomplishment and really be able to celebrate with you today. You started with a mindset that you were here only to avoid 33 to 43 months in prison. Today, you are a mother to a beautiful baby boy. You have restored relationships with your family. You have created a strong recovery for yourself and a strong recovery network. In your application, you stated in part, I'm ready to do this on my own. Today, I know the true definition of recovery and show it in my everyday life. You keep doing that, and you will continue to move forward and be successful. Congratulations. So, Ms. Landgraf, you started in December of 2019, and you made it through the program with just 2 sanctions. You had your driver's license reinstated shortly after you started in the program, and of course, besides a significant amount of sobriety, your greatest accomplishment, your beautiful daughter, was born during the program as well. It doesn't seem, the words don't seem enough to say that you are such a different person as you sit here today than the person that I saw out in the gallery observing our drug court program before you joined. You are strong and you are an amazing, loving mother. You knew when you joined the program, I didn't know, but you knew that you were going to be having a baby before you, or as you were starting the program. And you knew that you wanted something different for yourself and then ultimately something different for your family. And you have worked hard to accomplish that during the program. When you were getting ready to move to phase 2, you indicated that you were ready. I'm learning to accept the good and the bad in life and just keep moving forward no matter what, which is actually very similar to what Ms. Jahaski-Lebo had talked about as well. And that is so important. You definitely need that mindset as a parent, as you deal with the easy things and difficult things of parenting and also in life in general. You have moved into your own apartment. During the course of your time in this program, of course, you were pregnant. You got ready for the birth of your sweet daughter with Mr. Bland, who has been here in the courtroom as well all day with Adeline. And you worked, I think, up until you had Adeline, and just really were dedicated to yourself and your recovery. When you were getting ready to move to phase 3, you said you were ready because drug court has been the biggest blessing in disguise. I think many people end up thinking that. Always making me step outside my comfort zone and encouraging me to do my very best at everything in life. I learned to always do the right thing. And that is true, and that is what we as a team have seen you do time and time again in this program. Watching your transformation after you had Adeline has been really beautiful. You are an incredible mom, and all of us on the team have enjoyed when she has been in court with you, whether it was for your court review or someone else's, and just watching what an attentive and wonderful mother that you are. I especially loved receiving pictures, and my favorite picture still is the one of Adeline in the pumpkin. And you and Mr. Bland have worked incredibly hard, separately and together, to be a family and to be the best parents possible to Adeline. When I used to do juvenile drug court, I was, back when I was a commissioner, I had the privilege of presiding over juvenile drug court. When our youth would graduate, we would say, always remember JDC, juvenile drug court. And we said that because even though people move on after graduation, some people want to just shut that door and not look back. And that can be dangerous. And so, as I've kind of said multiple times today, just hope that you will always remember your time in drug court and the changes that you have made, and how your life has just set off on this new course, the course that you chose and that you have worked so hard for. In your graduation application, you had very insightful words. You said, "I realize that it is a lifelong choice," which relates to this. It's a lifelong choice to wake up every day and make the right decision. And you said that you are absolutely committed to that, and do always remember that, and you will always do the right next thing. Congratulations. So now, Ms. Martinez. So you have kind of had ups and downs in the program, but again, when I think of you, and even before I started preparing for graduation, I only see you as you sit here today, just accomplished and solid in your recovery and really committed to yourself and your life. You're going to be a mom, and all of those things. But it was not necessarily an easy road for you. And I do think it's important. We have other people who are watching, current participants, and I think it's important for them to hear all of the journeys that people have in this program, because some people do struggle and they are still successful. They still find that recovery that's going to lead them forward. And that kind of seems like what your journey has been like. You entered on September 17, 2019. And in short order, you had several violations. And you talked about this in your speech, but you were taken into custody. And ultimately, we ordered that you go into the CDP program. You definitely did not want to go to the CDP program when I ordered you in there. But you successfully completed CDP and came out into drug court. And unfortunately, well, actually, I don't know that it's unfortunately, because it happened right before the pandemic. You came out. We maybe only had court once or twice before we had shut down because of the pandemic. And I say that maybe it is not unfortunate because you did relapse. But isn't it better to relapse when you are in this program and you have the support of the team to help you right the ship, so to speak? I think so in your case, certainly. And that is what you did. And after that, you, after your relapse and getting kind of back on track, you solidly moved through the program without other sanctions. So I also have all of your CDP reports, as I was talking to Ms. Jahaski-Lebo about reading hers. And I also was surprised when I read those and refreshed my memory also with those. Because you did not have an easy time at the start of CDP. Unfortunately, either at the same time you started or right after, a couple of women were in the jail who had been part of the program, who were waiting to go to prison, who were not good influences on you and other people. But some of your CDP reports indicated a negative note for a bad attitude, multiple warnings for failure to follow the rules, and things of that nature. And that was probably for the first 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. But then again, treatment talked about that they noticed that you developed a different mindset, that you developed better boundaries, and that you were learning about accountability. At your second court review, when you got to phase 2 and were able to come for court reviews, you told me that you you said something to the effect of, thank you for sending me to CDP. I know I didn't want to go, but now I'm glad I'm there. And you did need that structure to help you kind of take some of the first steps towards your recovery. And you came into court, drug court, like I said, right before the shutdown, and that was hard on you, and you did not make good choices. But you did make good choices, because people who relapse get to make choices. They get to run, they get to continue to use, or they get to say, I relapsed and I need help. And that is ultimately what you did. And you completely, at that point, dedicated yourself to your recovery and to change. And you figured out what happened, kind of where you went wrong, so to speak, and figured out how you will ensure that that does not happen again. You got a sponsor, you moved into clean and sober housing. Eventually you found a really good job that has been also just an amazing fit for you, where you are appreciated, recognized. I think they push you, which I think is good for you too. And it's a place where you can grow in your job there. When you submitted your application for completion of phase 1, you said that I've learned to be honest with myself and the importance of my word. I truly believe that I'm taking this program more serious than anything else in my life, because if I go back to addiction, that will be the end of my life. And that was pretty significant, I think, realization. Perhaps you'd always known that, but it was very real for you after your relapse earlier. And then you just continued to make really big strides since that time. Found out that you were pregnant and going to have a baby. You've done an amazing job of taking care of yourself while still managing work and all the other demands of the program and your life. When you were getting ready to complete phase 2, you said that you were ready because I was given the gift of a second chance after my relapse, although I didn't deserve it. I knew I wouldn't waste it. Well, as has been said before, and I will say it again, you did deserve it. And I think you can see that now in yourself. But you certainly have not wasted a minute of continuing in this program and working on your recovery. In your application to graduate, you indicated that you plan to be the best mother I can be and to always give back to those who need it most. Those are the best type of goals to have now and going into the future. And there's no doubt that you are going to be an amazing mother, and that you are going to continue to be successful and keep your recovery as one of your number one priorities. Congratulations. Woo! Now we are going to have the presentation of the trees. Mr. Buckner.
And that was a presentation of the trees.
No.
My replacement is over here. 10 months. This is one of the other many traditions that we have with our drug court program, started by Mr. Paul Graves. And this was his way of recognizing graduates. What you have are noble fir seedlings. They're about 18 months, about the time that you have invested in your program, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But with these seedlings, what it suggests is you find a good place to go plant them at. At first, you're not going to notice much growth in them, but after a while, you'll notice a lot of growth. These noble fir is known for its sturdiness in rough weather, such as some of the rough weather that you have gone through before in your lives. But now you have a place, once you plant your tree, to go to. Maybe sit, maybe have a place, a little sacred place to go to, and just to meditate and to take care of yourself. With that, I am very proud of all 4 of you. I hope to see you visit every once in a while. Thank you very much.
Mr. Abid, do you have any motions for the court?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. In State v. Hogan matter, cause number 1810818-34. The state moves to dismiss with prejudice based on successful completion of drug court.
Based upon Ms. Hogan's successful completion of drug court, I grant the state's motion, and I've signed an order of dismissal with prejudice.
Your Honor, the State v. Jahaski Lebo matters, cause number 19101174-34, 19101311-34, 19101458-34. And Mr. Smith was right, she was coming back every 2 months. And the last cause number 19-101581-34, based on her successful completion of drug court, the state moves to dismiss with prejudice.
Based upon the successful completion of drug court, I have signed orders of dismissal in each of the 4 cases.
In the State v. Landgraf matter, cause number 19-101117-34, based on her successful completion of drug court, state moves to dismiss with prejudice.
And based upon the successful completion of drug court, I have signed an order of dismissal with prejudice.
In the State v. Martinez, 2 cause numbers, cause number 18-101078-34, and cause number 18-101445-34, based on her successful completion of drug court program, the state moves to dismiss with prejudice.
And based upon the successful completion of drug court, I have signed orders of dismissal with prejudice in both cases. I want to thank everyone who has joined us here in the courtroom, who have joined us on the Zoom, and who are joining us on the live stream. Thank you all for being here. Congratulations to our graduates. Court is adjourned.
Good job, baby.